All right, folks, we're going to be going live here in just a few minutes. Going to wait for some people to enter the chat room, and we'll take it from there. We got Wayside Wade in the big bedroom here. Now, Wayside Wade might be wondering about the CRC copyright claim. Well, the YouTube can go ahead and do all they want about it. YouTube can go ahead and do all they want about it, Wade. You want to know why? Because I own the copyright to this song. We got 4 people in the chat right now. All right, we're going to go ahead and cut this out, and here we go, folks. All right, folks, we're live. What's up?
What's up? We've got Wayside Wade.
Yep.
And so I can't see on here. I think on my iPad it says we have 4 people, and so I think it's probably you're watching, I'm watching, Wade's watching. So we have a mystery watcher.
Yes, we do
here on the live stream, and we'd love to have you join the chat.
Mystery shopper just dropped off to 3.
I'm still showing 4.
Yeah, we got the.
It's that whole latency thing
Yeah,
from
yeah.
one thing to the next. And so like I can see the chat here on my computer screen, but I can't interact with it on here. And so I have to interact with the chat on
Right.
my iPad here. Um,
I'm doing the math here. I'm listening because what you're watching on TV is from my other YouTube channel, which isn't really a YouTube channel. So it's me. Well, actually, it's me, you, because you're watching it. Wade, yeah, we got a mystery watcher. Yes, Wayside Wade says, "Show yourself, mystery watcher.
reveal yourself.
Reveal yourself."
So you got a new mic, man. What's Yeti G? Is that? I just noticed that you changed your name on the screen. That's funny.
Yeah, that's something I was gonna quiz you on later if you get the comedy on that one. You want to start? Okay.
You're gonna. Sometimes you have to break things down to me like I'm 2 years old.
Oh, I'll slowly break it down to you as if
sometimes I'm dumb as a stump.
Right. If Wade gets it before you do, that's because of this. Or if you get it before Wade does, it's before the 7-second delay. All right. I'm going to we'll start out with a hint. Okay. So you're looking at Yeti Gi. Okay. Think Canada.
Yeah, I don't know a lot about Canada, man. I'm a typical American, and so the only thing that exists to me is my country and my state, my city. It breaks down to we're so selfish, man, that we just do not think outside of our environment.
Sure.
I actually have a lot of friends from Canada, and I love Canada. Just
right.
So fucking beautiful there. And it's, one of the things that aggravates me is, and so the few times I've been to Canada, it's just incredibly clean. And I think, wow, man, could we adopt that? Could that become an American thing where, we just don't throw shit out the window of the car?
It's true.
It is clean there.
Rickshaw Philippines just chimed in from the Philippines. So we got 3 people in the United States and another American in the Philippines watching. Hello, Rickshaw.
Rickshaw says you got this.
All right. So, okay. Before we get into the silly mic, okay. So we started with Canada. Okay.
Right.
Hint number 2. Now you're thinking Yeti Gi. Now there was this band from Canada. Go. If you're not getting it.
A band from Canada?
They're from Canada. They originated from Canada. Yeah.
There's a lot of bands in Canada, man.
Okay.
I did see what's his name is from Canada, and I saw you wearing his concert shirt the other day. Justin Bieber, isn't he from Canada? Because you were wearing who?
He's my favorite. I was wearing a Jimi Hendrix shirt, but yeah, Justin Bieber's cool. You know who else is from Canada is Pamela Anderson. Oh, see, what did you just do there?
Wade said that. I read it off his comment.
Okay. Oh, right. See, no, Wade won.
Somebody told me the other day that I sounded like my voice reminded them of the lead singer of Rush. Believe it or not, it's somewhere in my comments.
Geddy Lee. Okay, Wade figured it out. So he said Rush, of course. Now get it. The lead singer, bass player, keyboard player from Rush.
Right.
Geddy Lee.
Right. Ha 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 ha.
Yeti Gi. Ha ha ha. Okay, that was bad. That was bad. I'm sorry. I got to learn how to. I got to learn how to keep away from the microphone. It has a hot gain on it.
Yeah.
Well, you can hear my voice wheezing. Okay, so yeah, the microphone it cost 100 and what? I can't remember. No, I'm sorry. Yeah, $129 US. And I looked at several other microphones there. Believe it or not, they had quite a few.
So which Yeti is this?
This is the Yeti X Blackout. So that's just what it's called. Because we had a choice.
Is it because it's black or?
Yeah, we had a choice from like a dark blue one. I kind of like that, but Karina's like, no, just get a black one.
Yeah.
But the cool thing about it, on the front of it, it has the headphone volume knob and it has a mute. And on the back, it has 4 polar patterns. And let me just get the screen larger so I can see what the heck I'm doing here. Excuse me. Yeah, so on the back of it, It has four. It has four polar patterns. It starts out with stereo, then it goes to omnidirectional, and then unidirectional, which is one I'm on because we don't want any back sound. And then it has what's it called? Dual. So
Bidirectional. Is
yeah,
it bidirectional? So
yeah,
front and back,
bidirectional. Yeah, front and back.
in case
So
you're singing a duet.
yeah, exactly. So inside here,
The metal.
there's three. I haven't unscrewed it yet, and I probably won't because I already know what the heck's inside there. There's three microphone diaphragms, and they're small diaphragms. They're probably about, I don't know, maybe that big.
Right.
But for the price, the microphone, Robert, it has some weight to it. A lot of these other microphones are like, $40-$50, and you're holding a piece of plastic.
Right.
This is actually, it's metal.
That's crazy.
And I've used blue mics in the past. I've used them. I've sold them. I've owned them. I think the last blue microphone I had was a blue Dragonfly, and that was really nice. It was like a medium diaphragm microphone. Came with a shock mount. And we bought it when we lived in New Hampshire. I ended up selling it. It came with a nice like wooden case and all that. But I bought it used at a pawn shop, and I ended up flipping it and selling it for more. But we used it for like karaoke and stuff like that. It had its own shock. Aside from the shock mount, it had its own windscreen. It was a mesh metal windscreen. It was more of a looker mic, but honestly, like I said earlier, with technology these days, it's things are so easy.
I think you know what? Around here somewhere, I have a mesh metal. I just hit my microphone. I have a mesh metal.
I didn't even hear it. I didn't even hear it.
And it's got the slanted, it's got the little diamond shaped slanted kind of opening in it. And so what it does is the way it works versus like a nylon one. And so you'll see the one that looks like they took some black nylon hose and stretched it in there. And
Sure.
so with the metal one, the way this one works is what it does is it allows it allows your voice to travel through it without being impeded or muffled by the nylon. The nylon will kind of disperse and muffle your voice.
Oh, yeah.
And so what the metal will do is it allows it to go through unmuffled, but it then directs it downward.
Hold on, I got to be quick. At the time is no, carry on, brother. Go ahead.
And so what it does is it directs the sound or directs the air downwards, so you're not getting that air into the microphone. And so like what I do, because I'm breathy when I talk, and so I keep the microphone, up here above me, and so I just talk and let my voice carry up without hopefully getting too many plosives, too much. I can't think of the word I'm looking for.
I can't either, but I know exactly what you're saying.
Right. It's fuck, why can't I think of it? Anyway, I used to keep my mic down here, and it would come up from the monitor, and so I would speak into it, and that really helped a lot because this room by and large is untreated. Now in front of me, I do have some audio panels, but they're on the other side of a computer screen. So that they're really doing me no good. But I'm not going to put them behind me because they just don't look like I like the way my background looks. And so I would rather have, not perfect sound, but pretty damn good. And so the thing about this microphone is that it will reproduce the exact sound of my voice. And so if we were sitting at a coffee shop, for instance, across the table from each other,
right,
you would hear exactly what you're hearing right now. There's no EQ on this microphone really that's going to make it sound different than what I really sound like. Right.
So what brand and model mic is that?
I'm using the Sennheiser MKH 416.
Okay.
So,
I'm familiar with that.
Yeah. $1,000 microphone.
Yeah. See, now that it probably serves a better purpose, like if you're out in the field with it.
Right. And so it's actually designed for, news shows. movie sets, stuff like that, will use this, and it's designed for outside. The other use for it, and so it's really, really popular with voiceover. But in that scenario, you're going to use it inside of a whisper room, a sound booth that's additionally treated, and you're just going to get a great sound. But I use it right here in this room, and I throw it on a video, and then it goes right up under. And so Wisteria's here.
Well, there she is.
And then I
Hi,
put a little bit of
Wisteria.
music up underneath it, and for the most part, it sounds really, really good, and it gives me kind of a dramatic, kind of thing, and people like it. So I haven't had any complaints.
It's great. You know what's weird? Because I'm new to this. I'd like to call myself an audio professional, but I have the cans on. I can hear my refrigerator in the background, and I'm not sure if everybody else can. I mean, maybe because
I think I can hear it a little bit, but it's pretty vague.
Okay.
I can hear my chair when I wiggle around, and so I can hear it. And here's the thing: is I just don't really care, man. And the thing is I think we spend a lot of time, especially on YouTube. This is, we're not recording a studio album here.
Nope,
we're doing a live stream. We're making videos,
unscripted.
Yep. We're doing vlogs. We're doing stuff like that. And so I think by and large, as long as the audio isn't horrible, you really have kind of won.
Yeah, and also, none of us are richer. I mean, I think for the price I paid for this microphone, actually, excuse me, I didn't pay for this microphone. Karina got me this for my birthday present.
Oh, awesome! Happy birthday!
Yeah, thank you very much. I'm a whopping 29 years old now. 29 meaning 47. But yeah, it's funny, over the year. Karina knows, like when we unboxed the mic, the first thing she said, when she picked it up, she goes, this thing has weight.
Yeah.
And because she knows from working in the past with me or being involved in shows and stuff like that and small tours and whatnot. Yeah, Karina knows what's up. Because this isn't really, for $129, plus tax, it's really not a piece of junk. Actually, I'm banging my knee on the table, and one thing it is missing is a shock mount.
I don't have a shock mount, but that's the thing, man. I will tell you so I've been on YouTube just over a year, and so I started September 29th of 2020 is when I started the channel. But I didn't, and I only had one video. It was an art video. I'm an artist, and so I didn't actually start uploading actual videos until March of this year. And so at March of this year, I had 8 subscribers. Now I'm at like a little over 1,000. But I've accumulated a ton of shit. And so I have I have boxes of shit I don't use, and I've got a couple of the boom arms. You clamp them to the desk, and you can kind of put the mic where you want. So I've got a couple of those. I've got that windscreen thing, but I don't have any just shock mounts. And the thing is, I'm going to be honest with you, the shock mount that they designed for that really is fucking useless, because what it does is it sets on this plate essentially that connects to the thing, and so it doesn't actually shock mounts are overrated for the most part, especially with affordable microphones. Right.
Now I've dealt with shock mounts in the past with $4,000 to $8,000 microphones, like Neumann's and Telefunken Audio and stuff like that. Now, the problem I've had with having like a shock mount, especially with the rubber bands that hold it together, once you screw that up, or at least me, once I screw it up, I can't put it back together the right way.
Wisteria is going to bed.
Oh, good night, Wisteria. She chimed in. Yeah, it's like
it's like probably like 1, 2 o'clock there. Something like that
it's I think it's 20 after 2 there. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So it's super late. Yeah. The thing is, shock mounts, Sean, are even with the Neumanns. And so I had a 102 and a 103 for a while, Neumann 102, 103 TLMs.
Yeah, I know
And
exactly what you're talking about. Yeah.
and so even with those, it really comes down to shock mounts are for table bumpers and mic grabbers.
Yeah.
And so if you've got it connected to your
Table bumpers
table,
and mic grabbers.
yeah, the people that you've seen them, these guys. If
I
you've
know
worked in
exactly what's
audio,
up.
yeah, these are the fuckers that are constantly jabbing on the table or they're
Right,
grabbing
right,
the
right.
mic. And here's the thing, buddy, back off away from the table. Stop touching the damn mic. If you can't afford
Right.
to buy the mic, don't touch the mic.
Right. Now,
And
on
don't
the
be pissed.
on the exact same, I'm not sure if the light's going to be able to pick this up. Oh yeah, it will.
Okay, yeah, I can see it.
Look how dummy the directions are, right? Okay, of course. I didn't even have to use that. Now
Mine came with none. Mine came with no directions.
Well, it just says what to do and what not to do without having to like explain it in typing.
Right.
Okay, now number 2 is with the no. I mean, with the check. Number 3 is the no. Okay. Now I'm using no, but I know microphone placement. What they didn't add on this, and I learned this back in 1997 when I was working at that studio in Hollywood with real microphones, just for vocals, because it was a R&B hip hop studio. If you have a lot of gain on your microphone, let's say the 7506s are right. Okay, the Sony MDR 70. Okay, they've been making for a million years. We used to go through like, I don't know, maybe 6 or 7 pairs a month.
Really?
Because when the artist is in the vocal booth and the microphone's hot and you have all the proper, wow, that's really cool. I can tell the difference in the sound. And you have the pop blocker there making the difference and all that. When the song's over, if their microphone's still hot and they take off their headphones, I'm not going to do it now because the mic is hot. These transducers are going to feed back between each other.
Really? I didn't know that.
No, it's squeal, and if it's hot enough, it'll bye headphones.
Nice.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not going to audition it now. I did audition it earlier. I was like, okay, let me check out the gain on this. Let me get the gain really hot, and then because what people will do, I'm going to back up from the microphone. They'll take off their headphones. Okay, let's say this is a standing microphone stand. They'll take off the headphones and then put them over the mic stand like that
every single time.
And then that's how you fuck up $125 pair of headphones.
I have and so I was telling you about the boom arms, and you can't see it, but I have over here where my hat's at. I actually have the table clamp for a boom arm, and I have it clamped to the table, but I have it clamped upside down because I own it. I don't have to go out and buy this. I have it, and I'm not using it for anything else. And that's where my cans rest when I'm not using them. And so I just hang them over here to the side. They're in my peripheral. They're right here for me to grab, but I'm not bumping them. I'm not touching them. I'm not hitting them with my wheelchair. Nothing is over there that's going to mess. I've had these were my beginner headphones, and I still have them because I take care of them. Now, my microphone is RF protected, and so I don't get any feedback from other electrical devices, shit like that. And I use really good XLR cables. I use the Mogami XLR cables.
Mm-hmm.
This microphone is brass, and so because it's brass, it just really shields really, really well. As far as I had another microphone that I had up here for a period of time, and I had to be really careful where I placed it because, excuse me, it would get that RF interference, and so if it was right in the wrong place above a computer or above the audio interface, you've got all this shit, kind of all these cables, all this stuff going on. That electrical interference you'd get this weird feedback in the microphone, and it would just sound wretched. But that's not an issue with this microphone.
So like you could take your headphones off and I'm not saying audition it right now. Like let's say that in an unperfect world, you were to take your headphones off and stick one of the earpieces right in the head of the microphone. It wouldn't squeal.
I don't believe it would.
I don't recommend trying it.
I
probably will.
And so I've never hung anything off. Like I said, I've got the thing over here for my headphones to hang on. And so, but I have never hung my headphones off of anything that, other than this, I've used this since day one because, I mean, the headphones are only $99, but I'm not made of money. And so,
none of us are. Yeah. I like these headphones that I got here. they were like $30, you know?
Yeah,
And
people are depending on their setup, people are using AirPods, they're using,
sure.
wired free plugs that they got with their phone. I mean, people are using all kinds of shit. And I think what it really, really boils down to for people and for YouTube, you always hear, does gear matter? And and I know I
Mm,
say that and I'm sitting in here and so, my equipment by and large is fairly expensive. And the point is though, is I started my channel with just my iPhone and my iPhone, the room light, and that and the speaker on my iPhone. I had nothing, and I had a table that I built
mhm.
myself that looked horrible, and I slowly accumulated. Here's the thing, though. So for instance, when I started my podcast, for instance, I had a Rodecaster Pro audio interface, so that's $600. I had the Shure SM7B. That's another $400. Then I
Yeah.
had, and all the other shit I had about $2,000 worth of equipment for this podcast. The first few episodes really sucked. They were horrible. And so as it turned out, having amazing expensive gear doesn't mean that there's all of a sudden going to be just this awesome content.
No,
The content's
exactly.
still going to be representative. It's going to be indicative of your skill set, your ability to learn and to improve and shit like that. And
Right.
so it was a costly lesson, but it was a really good lesson in that, be aware, Yeah. Be willing to improve, to learn, to get better, to fail, to eventually succeed. And then at that point, gear can start making a marked difference. However, I think gear, there's the whole idea of diminishing return of, just how much money do I spend? And so if I, $100 to $500 on a piece of equipment, that can be a pretty marked difference of quality, but that 500 to 1,000, 2,000 doesn't generally produce enough of a difference to make it worth the money. And so when you start buying really high end stuff, you're really kind of doing it for you, unless it's like a camera lens.
Sure, sure. Like same thing applies in like the recording stuff, like recording music. If you're gonna, you don't need to have an $8,000 microphone, but you don't want to use. I wouldn't like if I were to record somebody's vocals professionally. I could tell you right now, the microphone I'm using right now, like if I were being paid to do it, I wouldn't. I would go rent. I would go rent a microphone.
I'll tell you something though,
Yeah.
and you'll laugh about this. And so I have a good personal friend who was actually on the podcast, and so he makes a new he'll release a new song. He'll put it on Spotify, and it'll
Mhm.
get a minimum of 500,000 downloads pretty quickly.
Wow.
Yeah, every fucking time. But get this. So young black kid from the Carolinas, from like North Carolina,
Uh-huh.
and he just actually it's been quite a while back, but they just released it. Him and Oates of Hall and Oates did this song together, and so it's Servon Campbell and Hall and Oates on this song, and so we were talking a while back, and kind of like this, but we weren't recording it, and I was using the U87. U87, yeah, and so
Yep. I'm
my mic
very
was
familiar with that microphone.
fucking
Yeah.
phenomenal,
Okay.
and he was using like the mic on his computer or phone or whatever. But he told me, I was like, Servon, I've always wondered what microphone do you use? And he's like, well, I was using this really, really shitty microphone. And when me and Oates started working together, he was like, hey, would you be offended? I'd love to send you a microphone. I think you just need a better microphone. And so, yeah, so
Okay.
Servon's like, yeah, that'd be awesome. So he sends him the Samson mic, and so there's a Samson. I forget what it's about the same price as the microphone you have, and it is essentially a Blue Yeti in a different body. It's the same fucking mic. And the thing is, with correct audio treatment, with correct audio processing in post processing, you can make it sound amazing.
Absolutely.
Potato Jet, he's a big YouTuber. I think he's got like 500,000 fucking subscribers.
Wow.
He uses a Blue Yeti occasionally, the guy that does the vidIQ channel uses a Blue Yeti, and he's got almost 1 million subscribers. He's using a Blue Yeti. And so I knew this guy. He's kind of a twat, man. I don't really like him. And so he's always griping about, oh, you got to have an XLR mic, professionals have XLR. You don't use USB. And I told him, I said, hey man, there's a couple of guys in between them. They have 1.5 million subscribers, and they both regularly use the Blue Yeti. So I think, and they get more views on a channel within the first 20 minutes of it being released than you and I have on our entire channels historically. And so I think you might be wrong. I think it might have more to do with content than they say content's king. And
right. It's like, I honestly, because everything's going to, get squished down to YouTube format. Okay.
Right.
So I could be using, let's say in comparison, let's say if I were using like a Rode NT2 and A beat it with the the Yeti that I'm using, you're not really going to tell that end of a difference on
You're
the
not.
end.
You're not. And you know why? So you were talking about the YouTube compression thing. So, YouTube, what a lot of people don't realize is, so you might have a microphone that, is, whatever to 20 hertz. The thing with the YouTube, hi everybody, happy Saturday, Content King with the Yeti party. That's funny.
That's my buddy Philip. He's I've known Philip for 20 years. He's a truck driver. He's obviously parked right now because he can type. And I sent him a link. Go ahead.
The thing with
party.
What was I saying? The thing with what was I saying?
Oh,
I lost my train of thought. I'm easily distracted by shiny objects.
We were talking about
oh yeah, the compression. And so
yeah.
The compression on YouTube, when you upload a video, it compresses the audio down to 15 hertz. And so it's no longer at 20 hertz. And so all that, you just spent, $1,000, $2,000, $5,000, $12,000 on a microphone, depending on what you have. You kind of wasted your money. If that's your sole purpose. If you're doing voiceover, if you're a musician, money well spent. But if you're not, if you're doing this, you literally can get away with the microphone on your iPhone. You can get away with you can get away with anything as long as you're willing to do a little post-processing. I'm not willing to do post-processing because I'm fucking lazy. And so I use a really expensive mic, and I lay music under all my audio. Just being honest.
I would have I'm not okay. So I understand like laying the music, like way in the background. I think that's cool. Like I do that. Like, I use pretty much the cookie cutter in the can. I found a little soundtrack that comes with your iPhone that, I lay it in the background. And what's kind of sucks for me is, once I graduate, eventually I'm going to graduate to not using an iPhone exclusively, but using other forms of cameras or camera.
Right.
But I
have cameras I don't even use.
Yeah, I'm very comfortable with this, but that background, and the Apple company kind of doesn't, when I say clear it up, they, depending on how long your video is, how short it is, whatever's the end, the song automatically ends, and they do it like that. And, I kind of dig on that. So I'm going to regret like not being able to have that sound that I've, that's in the back of like, the videos, every single video that I do, that's not a live stream, which I'm new to. But yeah, and also finding stuff that's not copywritten or something that's not too.
I use Epidemic Sound, and I pay for it. It's $15 a month. But here's the deal: is you can and you need to do it if you're going to use it. You can connect it to your YouTube channel. You can connect it to Facebook if you use that. I never post on Facebook anymore. You can use it on Instagram. And so I will occasionally do a short clip of one of my videos, kind of a teaser on Instagram.
Right.
And because I have that link to my Epidemic Sound account, I am able to put my music that I get from Epidemic Sound with the video on the on Instagram or whatever. And and it's royalty free. I can't get fucked with, with copyright or anything
Sure,
like
sure.
that. And I've paid for it. And the thing is Epidemic Sound is the one that is aware of that connection, and so they're the one that is going to make the claim if there was one, and they would
Right.
if So I have editing clients that don't use Epidemic Sound, and they're always like, "Oh, put some music in there," and I'm like, "Well, pay me more because music's not free."
Yeah, you got to pay for the copyright if you're going to say we want to use. Yeah,
Right.
quite-
But that's changed, man. And I wonder what you think about that, because, even just like 10 years ago or
Wait,
less.
hold on. Pause for 1 second. Pause for 1
Okay.
second. I won't lose train of thought. I promise. Hold on 1 second.
He's got to pee, ladies and gentlemen. So let's look at the chat a little bit. I can't put you guys up on the screen, and so I'm the guest, I'm the co-host here, and so I'm not able to really interact with the stream chat. So I can't put you guys up. But Wayside Wade, Philip, welcome. Wisteria is gone, but just wanted to acknowledge you guys and thank you for showing up and interacting in the chat. And so what were we talking about there, sir?
Did I lose my train of thought? Oh, copyrights and stuff like that.
Yeah. So yeah, like 10, not even 10 years ago, if, so let's say you were filming and editing a video down and you wanted to throw some music in there, getting that song, that copyright song and using it could literally cost you hundreds, if not $1,000 or more dollars to use it. And now you can get one, and obviously it's not, it's not fucking Aussie, but it's pretty good. And it's, it's $15 a month unlimited.
What time is it?
Hold on. It's 6:37.
Penny to get food.
Okay. We're live here, but we're semi-professional live. Yeah. So like, like with the R&B and hip hop music, a lot of the stuff is done through samples.
Right.
And like the studio I used to work for back in '97, if they were going to want to use something and like, before and the owner had a lot of money, but I'm a table cooker here.
That's worse than a mic grabber.
He would get permissions and he would buy the rights. He pretty much kick them down some cash and be like, okay, well, if the song does make radio or does actually, get a deal, then of course you guys are going to get a further chunk off of it. And it worked most of the time because if you go ahead and you do stuff like certain people get away with it or got away with it, like remember Vanilla Ice?
Oh yeah.
In that song, Ice Ice Baby, right?
Right.
Who did he
sample?
He sampled it from Queen.
Oh, nice.
Oh, Crystal's place here. Hello, Crystal. He sampled it from Queen. Under pressure. Dung 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 dung.
Right.
Dung, 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 dung. But what they did, and this is how they got away with it, and they made a big deal about it. So it's dung 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 dung. Dung 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 dung. Okay, now what they did to it was they went dung 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 dung. So they add that extra bass line to it.
Right.
And they I'm not sure exactly how that lawsuit worked out, but and that's another big deal, like with Michael Jackson and Paul McCartney. And I think at one point, Michael Jackson owned all the copyrights to
the Beatles. Oh,
yeah.
Yeah. How'd you feel about that, man?
About him owning about what?
About him owning all of the Beatles music.
Well, you know what? He did it for a reason, probably because he didn't want people taking Beatles songs and raping them.
I think if anybody was going to do it,
that's loud.
I think there was a couple there. There are a couple of people, man. I'm a huge Prince fan, and I think he is incredibly fucking talented cat. And
was
right was, but I think there's some people, man, that I think it would almost be an honor to have them sample your stuff. And so Philip is singing along with you.
Philip is Yeah, Philip is a what do you call it? He's a rock and roll encyclopedia.
Nice.
He's one of
Nice.
those dudes. He's a guy that writes with his left hand but plays right-handed guitar. Yeah, Phil's he's a wonderful dude. But yeah, you know, if I had a hit song, that's why you don't hear too many Michael Jackson songs. If any, they have samples in them from R&B hip hop artists. Because
Right.
imagine, you know, you have a $1 song. Let's pretend like kabillion is a number here in the wonderful world of make believe.
I'm pretty sure it is.
Yeah.
It's like a Bitcoin term.
Yeah. So we say you got a $1 song that's been out for 10 years, and then somebody's gonna sample it, and let's say, you know, they're gonna make 20 kabillion off of it.
Oh yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I want some of that shit, man. Yeah, absolutely. I have no problem with purchasing copyrights. You know, you purchase copyright, either you sign like an end agreement or you sign something that says, okay, if it makes more, then we're going to get then my publishing company is going to get residuals from your publishing company. And that's usually how that shit works out. But you know what one song, I don't know how and why Michael Jackson and his company did it. There was this group who they were a one-hit wonder. A group called Alien Ant Farm, and they remade Smooth Criminal.
Right.
Okay. Now you can't. I don't know exactly how they did things as far as, like, you know, contractual stuff, but yeah, they were in the bed with it. They redid that song, and it was gosh darn it well produced.
Nice.
You know, and
Nice.
you know, and it's weird, you know, but yeah, if I were way up there in the music industry, yeah, I would guard my stuff pretty well, you know, because you could take, and I'm not sure how it works nowadays, but back in the day, you used to be able to take a certain amount of seconds from somebody's song. I think it was like 3 or 4 seconds,
Right.
You know, and you can get away with it. But now, yep, Wayside Way just said Alien Ant Farm. Yeah, Smooth Criminal. Very well produced rock and roll song. Very well produced.
I think we live in a society that's so litigious now that, I mean, people are afraid, man. They're terrified to cross any line, any boundary, because the minute you do, man, you've got this, you know, let's say we're talking music here. Let's say you've got this, you know, number one that's, you know, 16 weeks, number one. You're fucked because you're not getting any of that money. No one's getting any of that money because you know, arguably were you 3 seconds or 3.3 or, you know, and
Right.
We're so litigious, man. We're so, and I get it. You know, I don't necessarily want someone taking what I've worked to create and sampling it, using it, you know, clipping shit out of my videos or, you know, and so my podcast is actually copyrighted. And so the name is copyrighted, all the information right. So you touch it. I mean, that's your ass. And I don't know. I think if somebody just used it in some way, I probably wouldn't really care.
Yeah, but if they capitalized off of it,
yeah, I might want a little piece
it might be
of
a different
that.
story.
I might.
You know?
But the thing is, if they used it in a way that I didn't agree with, then that would be a problem.
I have no problem. I have no problem with capitalism, but you got to do it the right way.
Right. Yeah. I think, you know, here's the thing. I worked for everything I've got. I'd kind of like the same from you, especially as an artist. If you're not a creative dude, maybe go take and set your ass down on a couch somewhere and leave it to the people that are.
Are you reading text that I'm not seeing here?
Who, me?
Yeah. Let me see what's going on here.
You're on
Oh, go ahead.
And so the stream that I'm looking at on my computer screen is in sync with what I've got on. It's in sync with what I've got on my iPad.
Yeah,
I'm just jabbering.
Oh no, that's fine. That's fine. No, the last one I'm reading is from Philip. Actually, he got a new one. He said, "Yeah, party AAF, which is Alien Ant Farm from the OC, which is Orange County."
Well, he's got a new one now. MTV successfully stole the intro from Peace Sells by Megadeth in court.
Oh, they did.
By the way.
Yep, I know what you're talking about, Philip.
That's hilarious. Okay, you just said he was an encyclopedia.
Yeah, you know what song we're talking about.
You know, you can throw that up on the screen, right? You know, you can put these on the screen, the comments. If you click on it, it'll go on the screen.
Oh, okay. Oh, long.
And
Okay,
then-
let me.
Because I'm
So-
old, man. I'm old and blind. I'm
All right.
trying to look at these without putting my
Messages.
spectacles on.
Okay, that's pinned. I think. Hold on.
Yeah, if I was doing it, I think because I don't use StreamYard anymore. I think you can just click on it and it goes up on the screen. Oh, that's you're using your phone though.
Well, I'm
So
using
you
it to
can't-
pin it, but there's been the Wayside Wage showed me how to do it to where it comes up on the screen
Yeah,
instead of in the pin. Let me see here. We got time. Hold
it
on.
doesn't matter. I mean, we
Yeah,
can.
yeah. I could put Philip in a timeout if I want.
There you
I'm
go.
not-
Yeah, he should be punished.
Yeah, we're good. I'm
You
just
know,
gonna
it's
go
funny.
ahead and unpin that.
It's funny though that Philip, you bring up Megadeth because I was thinking just like 10 minutes ago in our conversation that who we listen to and what we listen to and the type of how we listen to music now, so much has changed, and so much that, you know, was part of our youth or part of just 20 years ago is now considered like classic rock or classic whatever. And, you know, Megadeth is one of those bands that I spent a lot of time listening to Megadeth, you know, like not even 20 years ago. And it's just one of those pillars, man, of memory and of time of rock. And it's crazy that, you know, I think by and large rock music is I think in some ways it's kind of extinct, or it's changed so dramatically that it seems not the same for me. You know what I mean? Are you muted? Okay. But yeah, it just seems like it seems like music has changed so dramatically. You listen to, you listen to old Kiss, you listen to
Oh, yeah.
Megadeth.
Yeah, I'm back.
And then fucking there are just so many cool bands that and nobody's making music like that anymore.
Oh
You
no.
know?
I have a Megadeth war story, not a war story. Okay, kind of.
Let me tell you something real
Go
quick.
ahead, go ahead.
I have a friend who, and so he's a professional. He does shows, man. He not a roadie really. I think he does merchandise and shit, but he is actually touring with the Stones right now. He sent me a
Really?
text. Yeah, I sent him a text yesterday and was like, "Hey Nick, what are you doing? Where are you at?" Because he's always somewhere cool. And he's like, "Yeah, I'm with the Stones right now." And I was like, "Fuck you." I'm really jealous. Yeah, they were part of the 80s Metal USA Metal soundtrack. I concur. That's from Philip. But yeah, I just wanted to throw the Stones out there, man, and get some cool factor on that. So go ahead. Now that I've rudely interrupted.
Yeah. Do you know what's really funny with this microphone? Everything picks up. And
What do you want me to do?
It's okay. I'm not complaining.
Huh?
We're live.
Not
Everything's.
say anything just to do your bluff.
Yeah. So yeah, Megadeth. Yeah, back in 1997. Let me try to turn the gain down here. Back in 1997, I was young. I was like 22, 23 years old, living in Hollywood. This is a couple years before I met Phil, because I met Phil in 2002. But I was kind of halfway dating this girl. Mind you, we were in Hollywood. Anyway, so very, very beautiful girl. And we were all so young, but anyway, so we ended up like stop seeing each other, and she ended up hooking up with Nick Menza, he's yeah, and he passed away. He died over his drum set at the Troubadour in Hollywood.
Could have been worse.
California.
Could have been Tony Danza. The names are similar.
Yeah. So Nick Menza, she ended up having two children with him, and they moved before they got divorced. They moved up to Alaska.
That's crazy, man.
Yeah. Phil's got some rock star stories too, but yeah, she ended up, after she hooked up with him, and she's like, "Oh, I'm pregnant." And she's like, "Oh," and then she was kind of like, I didn't know that this whole.
So
yeah.
Phil's saying 2003. Is that when you guys met? Is that what the 2003 is?
We met in
Okay.
2003.
How'd you guys meet? What's the dynamic of the relationship? Megadeth's third drummer.
Yeah, the dynamic of the way that I know Phil is an ex of mine. We were splitting up, And I was working at Guitar Center in Sherman Oaks, California at the time. Back in the Guitar Center days, I started in the Hollywood store, and then I ended up going to after working at a recording studio, I went back to the, studio I always talk about, went to the Sherman Oaks store, and I was looking for a room to rent in a house, and, this is 2003. And one of the guys that worked in the warehouse, he's like, yeah, well, I'm moving out of this house, here's this lady's business card. And that's how Phil and I met, because at the time, this nice lady, she's passed away since, but her and Phil were, they were in a domestic relationship together, and that's how I met Phil.
Nice, nice.
Yeah, and he's so humble. This guy, was like the whole time I knew him before they split up. I didn't know the whole time he had this. I'm not sure how familiar you are with guitars, Robert. He had a very, 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 very nice BC Rich bitch.
Nice.
That's the model of the guitar. Mm-hmm. Under the bed, after he moved out. Wow. After he moved out, Samantha's like, check this out. I'm like, you've had this thing here this whole time, and yeah, she's like, play the shit out of it. Like, all right, awesome. Fine.
That is awesome.
Yeah. So
it's cool that he's here because he's got great information. I've got a friend, and so my friend Bart, he has a YouTube channel. Shandy Warhol is here. Hi,
hi, Shandy.
And so Bark at Obscure Mics, him and a buddy of his have a podcast, and I think they do it like on Friday nights maybe, and it's music centric, and so it's always some really interesting just kind of backstory to different bands, and they do a lot of fucking research, and plus they just know stuff. They're probably like Philip, where it's just their generation, it's their time, and that was what they were interested in. Yeah, and so they just have all of this great information, and it's always awesome when you get somebody like that joins in on the chat, and because that really kind of directs the live stream and kind of breathes life into giving you some extra information, and you learn something, and it's just really nice.
So Philip just wrote, the only model that Mustaine also played, by the way, RE, the first and second releases. Wait, Philip, are you saying that he played the BC Rich bitch?
I think he is.
He's probably right. He's not wrong about a lot of things when it comes into music. Oh my God. Phil is amazing. Oh, chords.
Yeah.
What do you mean? Oh, the bottom model that. Oh yeah, correct. Oh, he meant to say correct instead of chords.
Yeah.
Interesting. I didn't know that. I didn't get into Metallica until I was like 14 years old, and they had been out years before then.
Yeah, I think the thing is especially like people. I think artists, musicians especially, can really just be enamored, and so they just like the feel and the sound. I think it's really easy to get really connected with a piece of equipment and know that for your purposes, for your use case, that's the piece for you. That's the guitar or the whatever it is. Do you what's your Sean, or Guy, what's your all-time favorite band? All-time favorite musician, band, whatever.
Oh man, that's a tough question. That's
give me a couple, 2 or 3 that you just really, you don't have to be number one. It can be some of your favorites.
Well, when I was younger, actually, back when I was 3 years old, and my mom has old ancient pictures of this, I used to, they had this reel-to-reel tape machine, 2-track tape machine.
Yeah.
And I used to have these big cans on my head before I had hair on my head. And I would sleep under the table listening to reel-to-reel tapes of Queen Bohemian Rhapsody.
Oh, it was the first rock album I ever heard was Queen. Very first.
Now, when I was 4 or 5 years old, because one thing my mom never did is she never sheltered me from music.
Right.
When I was 4 and 5 years old, I had the Kiss Dynasty record. Okay, she bought that for me, and then I had like a Pink Floyd 45 from the wall. But as far as favorite bands now, I can't really narrow it down because I don't do country music, but having worked in the business for for so many years, I've been I've been cultured with with how to do like a bluegrass band, or how to mix live sound for country, or how to mix sound for a heavy metal band, or anything in between. So it's like this. One of my favorite records would be Metallica and Justice for All.
Right.
Okay.
Okay.
Now, that's a great record that's highly criticized because what they did is when Jason Newsted, Jason, whatever his last name is, you know who I'm talking about. When he joined the
Right.
band after Cliff Burton passed away, they hazed him. And what they ended up doing was taking, of course, his bass is on that record. But what they did is they took the EQ curve. When you put an EQ curve into a V like that,
Right.
doesn't matter if it's a 16 band EQ or a 31 band EQ. When you put that into a V, that's going to take that bass and make it go away. But you could put the bass on up here from the guitar levels, from like ching, 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 right? Mm-hmm. So they took away his bass. So that album was highly criticized with that. Oh, you can't hear the bass in it. Well, you know what? It was still good. It was still a well-produced album. Right. A lot of people's favorite bands are Metallica, but honestly, I can't narrow down an all-time favorite band that, because over the years after Metallica, I mean, there's a lot of Norwegian. I'm into some pretty heavy music, you guys. Philip knows it, but it's organized, meaning imagine symphonic black metal. And I'm not a Satanist, I'm a Christian. And like I said before, the music comes before the lyrics. There's a band from Norway that, boy, if you heard their stuff, oh my gosh, you wouldn't believe it. Their name is Dimmu Borgir. I think it means dark castle in Norwegian, and that's how it's translated. But
send me a link later.
I will, but just so you know, I mean, disclaimer, it's pretty heavy stuff. I'll send you like one or two songs, or maybe just one that's selected, and you could pick it apart in your headphones and be like, okay, now I understand what this guy. You imagine having like harsh vocals with heavy guitars, killer musicianship, but then have an orchestra behind it, and a choir, but not through the whole entire every single song. Very well produced. Very well produced.
I'm pretty open musically, and the thing is while I may not particularly like a particular type of music, like so for instance, you don't like country, and so there are types of music that I'm just not particularly into, right. And there are types that I kind of it's kind of my thing, but really kind of my thing is it's recognizing musical gifts, musical ability, and
sure,
and just really having a respect. And so Heather and I, that's my wife, and so last night we're laying in bed, and so every once in a while we will go down this YouTube rabbit hole of listening to music on YouTube. And so there are so many people that are very talented musicians, singers, music, guitarists, drummers, whatever it is they do, and so they have a channel and they're on there. And so we were on there last night, and I'm listening to this kid who sings duets, and so he does the male and the female part, and it's unbelievable. And while it doesn't sound exactly like the person, the ability to switch, a deep bass male voice to a high female voice, in a single breath, musically, I mean, just vocally, just the ability, the lung capacity to the what's the word on the
vocal range.
Yeah. The discipline that's what I'm looking for. The idea that someone can do that and do it so well.
Right.
Even if it's not for me, even if it's not an album I'm gonna rush out and buy or download on iTunes or Spotify or whatever.
Sure.
I still absolutely respect the ability, and I'm like blown away that someone with this capability exists. I got to tell you, one of my favorite musicians.
That's what I was going to ask you next. Yeah.
One of my favorites, and it feeds into that because of the unbelievable skill set, is Les Claypool from Primus.
Oh
And,
yeah,
yeah. And
they're from the Bay Area here. But when I was
I
younger,
mean,
yeah,
Les will fucking play anything and make it sound unbelievable, you know, and it so fits in it. So he can build an instrument and make it part of his vibe, part of what they're doing.
Les Claypool is a maniac.
That's okay though. We got
No, in a good way.
Yeah,
in
you
a good
gotta
way.
love them. Then there's so many, but look at Ian Anderson with fucking Jethro Tull. I mean, who in the fuck would have thought, hey, you know what? You know what'd be cool? Let's bring a flute into this. You know? I mean, who even
here's
thinks
where
of something like that?
our encyclopedia just jumped in here. Originally from Blind Illusion. What the hell is Blind Illusion, Philip? Is Les Claypool from Blind Illusion? I don't know.
I have no idea.
I don't know.
Les Claypool will sometimes he'll travel solo without Primus. I saw
know that.
Primus. Primus was one of the last bands I saw live, and so it's really because of my wheelchair. It's sometimes hard for me to get in and see a concert. Because I'm like fucking 3'5" now versus 6'3", and and some and so it's a concert, man. It's not shit's not going to be orderly. You can't just be like, oh, I'm going to go sit here like you're at the ballet or something.
Sure.
Yeah. He was Les Claypool's previous band, Blind Illusion. I'll have to go check it out. Metal Blade Band. I'll have to check that out, man.
Yeah, Metal Blade Records. A lot of heavy bands are Metal Blade, but yeah, back to Les Claypool. I've not Les Claypool himself. I've seen Primus open up for Rush in my life 2 times.
Nice.
I'll imagine that you got Primus in their intricacy, and then they're opening up for Rush. This is back when I was a teenager. Yeah, Primus, one hell of a talent, and they're still out there touring.
Yeah, I know.
They're still out there touring. Okay, so we got 5 people in here. And okay, what time is it? 7:00. You guys want to take 5 and then get back to it? Because I got to talk to Karina for a minute, and also I got to do 2 other things. I got to smoke and urinate.
So are you just gonna throw some music up?
Yeah, I'll put some uncopyrighted stuff up. Okay. And if you're gonna split for a minute, that's fine.
I will. I'll split for a second. And
yeah, maybe Philip could hold down the chat. Our chimed in heavy metal encyclopedia.
Oh, Satriani. Larry studied with Joe Satriani, by the way. That's pretty awesome.
Phil knows his stuff.
Yeah, clearly. Yeah. He's the guy we need to get him on the show, and so he can be in the little square right there.
We very well can. Whether he wants to or not, I don't know.
Even if he just shows up in the chat periodically to feed us all this great information, because I'm going to go check out Blind Illusion later because I'm really interested in that.
Me too. Oh, do you know? Here's one. Do you know that Les Claypool auditioned for Metallica during their transition from
Les Claypool did?
He did.
And they weren't fucking with him.
No, they turned him down because he was too good.
Probably, yeah.
Yeah. No, for really, they're like, wait a minute, we don't.
Yeah, can you imagine though? That would have been fucking catastrophic. When you join a band, man, the thing is you've got your vibe and your thing and your mission,
right.
And you take somebody like Claypool and you put him with Metallica, and yeah, that can be great and it can sound amazing. But does it potentially stifle Les Claypool? Does Primus not exist now? Do all of these things that we've known to know and love?
I think he might have auditioned for Metallica pre-Primus. Yeah, that was. But the thing is, like with the structure that Metallica has and their brand and stuff like that, you can't be having somebody coming in and showboating all over your music. Imagine you got Metallica and you got Les Claypool.
Right. Yeah, it's just a completely different vibe. And so he brings up Randy Rhoads. Randy Rhoads isn't too shabby, is he? I mean, how long has Randy been gone? And if you're really a guitar aficionado, whatever the word is, you know who Randy Rhoads is, man.
You went on everything on
Hold on. I gotta make this. What? Yeah, it would surprise me.
You're not muted.
You want on
Oh, we're just talking about burgers.
Okay.
You want everything on
Yeah,
it?
grab me one.
Mayo, lettuce, pickles, tomato.
Robert Spoke Audio wants one too, but we're gonna have to
You have to
throw it. We're
mail
gonna have to throw it like halfway across the United States.
You want all those?
All right, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, about 5 people in here. Okay, our encyclopedia told us our brew bra Philip died March 19th, 1982. I believe that's Randy Rhodes.
Yeah. Yeah.
So 74, 84.
What's the name? I don't get it, please.
I was 8 years old when he passed away. Oh my gosh!
I was 12.
Wow.
Actually,
Wow.
so it was in March, so I would have been 11. I turned 12 that year.
Interesting.
Yeah, I mean, but these guys, man, so many of these people that, the style is doesn't exist anymore. The music's not coming.
Yeah,
They
just like
they shaped who we are, though. Musically, they shaped who we are. 40
just
years
like
this March.
Metallica. Oh yeah. They didn't, people say they sold out, but you know what? Would you do it for the money? Maybe.
I probably would.
Yeah, and they paid their dues. Um, Lars Ulrich isn't really necessarily the best drummer anymore in the world, so whatever that's about. But they keep him, of course, because him and James are Metallica.
Right.
So listen, folks, I'm going to mute my mic. I'm going to put on some music deep in the background.
And we'll be right back.
Yep, we'll be right back. Philip, stick around. He obviously is, because he's probably not driving right now, because smart people don't drive 53-foot big rigs and do that. So I'm going to go ahead and play this, and we'll see you all in a minute. Commencing mic mute.
All right, so we're back. Philip and I were just chatting. And so I was asking him, oh, you can't even hear me. So Philip and I were just chatting here on the chat.
I'm back.
I hear you now.
Sorry, guys.
No, it's all right. Philip and I were chatting, and yeah, I just think it's really cool that he's got like just all this like history and knowledge about music. And so I've learned some stuff. I just thought it was really cool to have him and learn some of this stuff and be reminded of, like Randy Rhoads and other greats that
Oh
that
yeah,
are just
absolutely.
gone. The thing is, someone's gone 40 years and, I mean, unless you're Philip, you don't think about them that often. You think about them when you hear something, you're reminded. There's that reminiscence or I'll tell you, somebody I like, man, and I love guitar, Andre Segovia, classical guitarist. And so I've got this cool story. When I was 16, and so I was a chef. I was a French classically trained chef for 30 years.
Philip's French.
Awesome. And so I started out as a dishwasher at 16, and one of my fellow dishwashers was this long-haired kid, man. And he was like, "Hey, yeah, you should come over, to the house someday and listen to me play guitar." And so finally, I go over there, and I'm expecting, because of the musical influence of the time and of our generation and demographic, everybody was listening. Like I think "Bark at the Moon" had just came out with Ozzy, and so I was really expecting something like that. I get over to this guy's house. His name's Charlie. I get over to Charlie's house and he breaks out this acoustic guitar and starts playing classical music on the guitar. And it was fucking unbelievable, man. The skill, the dexterity of fingers and motor skills to be able to do that. I like to read and research a lot of archival stuff. Archivists, I guess. Always interesting to learn where things are inspired and rooted. I agree, man. It's funny, growing up, it was the Joe Satriani's. My friend Charlie was a huge musical influence on me. Obviously Randy Rhoads, but I would listen to so much. Muddy Waters. I went through this huge phase of Muddy Waters and Lightning Hopkins, Son House, and so all kinds of musical influences, man.
Yeah. So Phil. He said, "I like." Phil likes to read and research a lot of archival stuff. Equals archivist. He is an archivist. Don't guess. Awesome. He is. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, for real.
He's a walking treasure trove of just shit I don't even know about. Wouldn't even know about. It's amazing, like how some people's brains can absorb so much stuff. I mean, I can absorb it's weird. I absorb my own things. Like, okay, as far as we'll go back into the professional audio realm of things. I absorb that to myself, but I just kind of it got into the business end of things. And who's to say, like earlier today, Corinne and I we went out for breakfast. I put that little, 9-minute video up, because we didn't want to make a big production out of it. But, we found out in Redwood City, there's a big ass theater, Fox Theater, not Fox News Network Theater, but it's called the Fox Theater. And then next door to it, directly next door in the building, they have called the Fox Club. So the Fox Theater is a big theater, with a balcony and all that stuff. Huge stage. I would say it would be minimum 29 feet wide by 30 feet tall. But next door, they have a venue with a stage. It's more of a club. It's called the Fox Club. So, you never know. I might, I didn't want to go bothering the dude that was changing the marquee or anything like that, because we were kind of just doing our own thing. But who knows? I could, maybe give that place a call one day and say, hey, you're asking me, you guys contract out sound dudes occasionally for, because nowadays, if I were to walk into a door, anybody who has any technical knowledge as far as like mixing live sound for like, doesn't matter what kind of band it is, the minimum is going to be $225 per night.
Nice.
And then you
So
got
how versatile are you in the studio? If I told you that, me and the fellas we were producing a country polka rap album, could you accommodate us?
country polka rap, kind of like Afro-Rican
Gangster rap.
Absolutely, that's how versatile I'm not bragging. I'm just saying
It's gangster country polka.
they've done gangster country. They've already done that, but adding the polka into it, sure, in the mix,
I despise polka music. Just throw it out there, and I hope I don't offend anybody.
No, not me.
I just can't do it, man. I cannot do it.
I can't do country.
I recognize the skill. There's absolutely a skill there that I appreciate and admire the ability. Just not my thing.
There's talent everywhere. Like personally, like with me, country music, I wouldn't purchase it or find myself listening to it on the radio. But I understand the talent and production behind people that that are, whether they're singing or they're playing musical instruments. And this isn't really a funny war story. Robert, are you familiar with country music?
Yeah, a little bit. Some of it, yeah.
So I'm sure you've heard of Montgomery Gentry.
Right.
Okay. So
one of them just died in a helicopter accident a few years ago.
Yep. So what happened with that was my encounter with Montgomery Gentry was they came into the Rochester Opera House on tour.
Right.
3 tour buses. It was weird. One tour bus was like for I'm not sure which one of the lead dudes it was. The other tour bus was for the band and the other lead singer, guitar player. And then the other tour bus was for they had a sound check band. The weirdest thing. They had a third band that toured on a third bus with them.
Wayside Wade is moderately offended. My job is done. Go ahead.
But what I'm sure what Wayside Wade probably likes polka music. I got no problem with polka music.
He's jacking with me.
Yeah. So anyways, what happened with Montgomery Gentry is they came in there with their big production, their own sound system, because large touring companies, they provide their own sound. So I didn't mix sound for Montgomery Gentry. They brought their own lights, their own sound. So my duties that night were technical director. So I pretty much made sure that I would, lock up the place, make sure that the catering's okay, make sure that the band's comfortable, make sure that their management backstage has all their internet dialed in and stuff like that, because they're working on what's going on the next day. So they perform their amazing sound and lights, amazing sound, amazing lights. And the matter of fact, their light guy, and also they bring their own lights and their own lighting consoles. His favorite band is Rammstein. You know who Rammstein is.
Yeah, that's awesome.
So his thing because we're doing things behind closed doors before public's even in there. You have all the room to do all the we can say bad words, all the fucking around you want. His favorite thing to do is after sound check and the lights were dialed in, he had his own little light show that he had dialed in, playing Du Hast from Rammstein. So he had this whole thing, like that was his favorite thing. So he'd set up the program and then hit play. It played Du Hast, and it's all pre-programmed, and everyone just kind of, everybody in the band and everybody on the tour and stuff like that, they would just kick back and watch it. And it was really cool. So sold out house, big performance, blah, blah, blah. They leave, we're on with the rest of our lives. The very next day, that dude died in a car accident. He played his last gig at the Rochester Opera House Yeah,
that's crazy.
Yeah, he passed away in a what was it, a helicopter or a plane crash? One or the other.
I think it was a helicopter. What's his name? What's Double Trouble? Why can't I think of his name? Died in Wisconsin. Why can't I think of him? He spawned. What's the guy? God, I can't remember. I'm just naming all this shit, and I don't know anything about any of it. I can't
That's
remember
all right.
anybody's names.
You're fine.
God, it's right on the tip of my tongue. I'll come up with it. Anyway, it's funny you were talking about like them having like just like a sound band, and that for some reason made me think of, and I think it was in the 90s. I saw this interview, and it was on one of the late night shows. It wasn't Carson, but it was something like that. Anyway, Mark Chestnut, do you know who that is? He was a country singer back in the 90s.
I do not.
Yeah, and so anyway, he had some popularity like in the early mid 90s, something like that, I think. But so he was on a late night show, and it might have been Carson or somebody. And so he comes on. Yeah, it's like they always did back then. He's introduced. He comes on immediately. Curtains open, whatever. And so it's him and his band, and they play it. They play a song. Comes, sits down, and he's and so now he's in the interview seat talking, and is asked, "What's the name of your band?" And his response was, "They don't have a band. They don't have a name. It's my band. Nobody buys tickets to come hear my band. They buy tickets to come hear me." And I thought, wow, what a not nice guy, man. Like, they're, and so a lot of people, their band, if it's kind of a lead, this is who you're going to see. Tim McGraw. Tim McGraw has his band has a name.
Sure.
A lot of people's bands have a name. And so if you're not Metallica, that's all inclusive. But if you're just one person because you're not doing everything,
right.
Your band has a name. And even if you don't, the idea that you would say on national TV that, oh, well, they don't have a name. They don't need one. People come to see me, not them.
Phil just typed in SRV. I'm assuming that means Stevie Ray Vaughan.
Steve, that's exactly who it was. Stevie Ray Vaughan. And so Philip, what's the guy? What's the guy that kind of is it? Kenny Wayne Shepherd? Is that the name I'm looking for? Kenny Wayne Shepherd kind of emulates his style, and he might have kind of came up under him. He has got a couple of songs I like, but yeah, Stevie Ray Vaughan. And I was actually in Wisconsin when that happened, and I remember, and those were the days of the radio. And I know that, you and I are pretty close to the same age. So we remember the radio before it was geared towards women between the ages of 18 and 30.
Sure.
And
Subuana Vlogs is chimed in. Hi, Subuana again. Sorry about the earlier podcast that didn't happen, or whatever you want to call it. Carry on. I'm sorry, Robert.
But yeah, I remember listening to the radio, and there it was. Stevie Ray was gone. And it was funny. So he was in Wisconsin. I was in Wisconsin at the time, and I had just decided that I had yet to see Stevie Ray Vaughan live, and I had just made the decision that was going to happen. I was going to see Stevie Ray before he passed, or before I died or he died or whatever. Fucking gone. I'm like, you'd be kidding me, man.
Well, like back when I worked in music retail, Robert, only based on the location where I worked at. I worked in Hollywood and I worked in Sherman Oaks. Hollywood's Hollywood. Sherman Oaks is the porn capital of the world. But anyways, that's besides the point.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, Sherman Oaks, California, at least back in the day, I'm sure it is still now. Yeah, but we're not talking about
I've considered making porn. I think
You never know. You never know.
It could be a blast. People are into weird stuff, and I'm in a wheelchair, and hey, maybe it could be a big thing.
Yeah, you and a little person like a midget. That'd be weird.
Yeah. Don't get me started. Man, I have a phone.
All right. Anyways, let's get back. Let's stay focused here with where we're at. So my years of working at music in music retail, based on the location where I was at, I have met and sold gear from everybody. And Phil, he as long as you like, remember that part in what movie was that? Oh shit! Now I'm getting off track here. Steve Martin, The Jerk. Remember he's in the parking lot and the Cholos drive up and they're like, no. And he's like, as long as you have a voucher, because they were passing a fake credit card.
Right.
No, Philip could vouch for what I'm saying, because I'm very transparent. I've dealt with everybody from in sold gear to everybody from hold on a second. Obo, can you shut that door? It's gonna be in the back. Hold on. I'll do it. Hold on. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Okay, I'm sorry for that. We're in tight quarters here. Yeah, anybody from Stevie Wonder to Eddie Van Halen, actors, RZA from the Wu-Tang Clan, Ronnie James Dio. I dealt with him a couple times.
I remember Ronnie James. I remember everybody you just mentioned.
But the thing is, the majority, I would say, in my experience, my personal experience, okay, is that about 95% of the people that I personally dealt with were just normal fucking people.
So are you saying that these people came into Guitar Center?
Where else are they going to get their gear?
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, you would think that, obviously, but it's funny. I used to work at a grocery store when I was 15, and
Mhm.
I met Bobcat Goldthwait. He came in,
Okay.
and
Yeah.
well, actually, his manager came in, bought a shit ton of fruit and just weird shit, and he's like, "Oh yeah, this is for Bobcat. He's performing across the
Yeah.
street. You should come over."
Well, the thing is, it's like, okay, if you're a high profile musician like that, doesn't matter who you are, whether you're, whoever I mentioned above. A lot of people want, after you've been a celebrity for so many years, you want to be able to, sure, you could say, okay, I want this and I want that, and it's going to be delivered to you. Okay. Whether it's a piano or a guitar, or if it's a Tech 21 Sans amp or a reverb unit, but you get to this point in your life to where it's like, you want to be able to go out in public and deal with just people, instead of
Right.
saying, instead of paying for it and having it delivered to you like a fucking pizza,
Yeah, it's funny because I'm going on this mind rabbit hole when you're talking of, you're saying that, these people want to go out and they just want to be normal people, and they have needs, they have wants, and so they're not at this point, you're not fucking Michael Jackson, so you can go out and you can do these things. You can go to Guitar Center, you can go to 7-Eleven.
Sure.
It's funny is, especially like in the late 90s, early 2000s, the paparazzi thing was just off the chain.
Yeah,
Just wild.
you saw that video do you remember that video I put up?
Yeah. And so
Yeah.
people, stars, man, they were whining. Oh, we just want to be normal. We just want to be this. Well, guess what, buddy? You all are now, because you're all irrelevant, because, people like Taylor Swift are huge. And so nobody knows who you guys are anymore. And so you kind of got your wish, but it came with irrelevancy. Once you kind of become irrelevant. I mean, I couldn't imagine, growing up, 12, 13, 14 years old, listening to, Dio, waiting for that next album to come out constantly.
Sure. Yeah, absolutely.
I couldn't imagine running into him, and not just being like, hey, can I get your autograph? Can I, whatever. And, time passes, you're out of the spotlight. People forget who you are.
Sure.
You could be standing next to him in the fucking public library and no idea.
Right.
And so your wish is granted.
Now, like in those parts of the Hollywood thing I was talking about, like whether it's Hollywood or Sherman Oaks or in the Valley or anything like that, it's not an uncommon occurrence to see a celebrity grocery shopping. So that's no big deal. So like they're not getting, now if it were Michael Jackson, that would be a different story. Okay.
Right.
But
right. There's degrees.
Yeah. But it's shit, people, they live up in the hills, between Sherman Oaks. So you have Sherman Oaks, which is the valley, and then you have Hollywood Hill, which is a mountain. And on the other side is Hollywood, where you got Hollywood Boulevard, Sunset Boulevard, and Santa Monica. They all run parallel. But people like to come out of their homes and do stuff. But it's like this, like with Ronnie James Dio. Okay, the first time I met him, he called the store. And they talked to the front desk, and one of the front desk guys, like, he was a big Dio fan. He's like, I got this dude that's going to come in. I'm like, who? He's like, it's Ryan James Dio. I'm like, okay, right on. He's going to come in with his buddy, Craig Goldie, and Craig Goldie, you know who Craig Goldie is. And the first time it was like a big introduction, here's Sean Hodges, Ronnie James Dio. And I ordered him a guitar. It was for Craig Goldie, or a guitar processor. It's called a Tech 21 Sands amp. We didn't have any in the store, and I worked in the pro audio department, which was different from the guitar department, and that was a guitar item. But that's besides the point. But anyways, the whole time those two dudes were so fucking down to earth. We didn't talk about like this and that, like rock star this. They're like, they wanted to order some gear. It's like, they were so down to earth and just didn't want the celebrity treatment. That's the thing. They didn't want the celebrity treatment when they went in there. And I respect and admire that, because I was taught back when I first started working at Guitar Center, when I did my training at the Hollywood store, they taught us, part of their training, they tell you this, it's very important. Treat the stars like regular people, and you treat the regular people like stars.
Have you been into a Guitar Center recently?
I have.
That's not the case. I did. I went in actually the last time I went in, I had great service. The time before that, and the guy was not a trainee. He's been there for a while. He had no idea. I'm like, wow. Because I know a little bit more about this than you do, and that's disturbing.
Yeah. See, now back in the day, I used to have to sell packages to people. I used to just have to show them how the stuff worked, even though I didn't really 100% know it. And you used to have to sell it. Nowadays, it's like walking into a Best Buy, or it's like walking into a grocery store. You're just clerking your stuff, because with the internet and technology and all the information's out there, people already know what they want. That's why, like, Guitar Center,
YouTube.
Yeah, Guitar Center does curbside delivery.
Really?
Or curbside pickup, excuse me.
I didn't know that.
Oh yeah, I could have picked this mic up at the curb, but I want to go in the store. I want to put my hand on the product. I want to choose which box I want. Make sure this box is taped up super well. But the majority of celebrities, they're normal people, because we all have the same blood.
Right.
I've dealt with a couple. Phil would know what band this guy was. This guy was called what was his last name, Philip? If Philip's still here, Bruce Gowdy. He was like some dude from the 80s, some guitar player, and he went into the Sherman Oaks store. I gave him a full quote, like a printed out quote for a personal PA package. Something that it was like maybe like $4,000 or $5,000, and everything down to the cable. And what that son of a bitch did, he went to the Hollywood store, to the AR department, because they have it's accounts receivable, but some people call it artist relations,
right.
where your record company pays for the stuff. He went there with my quote. So when you don't have stuff in stock in a certain store, you'll pick up other stuff at another store on a will call. So it's already paid for at one store, you pick up in the other. So the supervisor, he's like, hey man, can you just throw put this order together, and of course you get 25% of the commission on the deal just for putting it together. I was like, yeah, sure, no problem. So I'm in the back in the warehouse, and I'm picking stuff up from this list, and then like a couple minutes into it, I was like, wait a minute, this is my quote. So I went into my system on the computer, and I was like, and I pulled up, it was the exact same motherfucking thing.
Wow.
At a different price. Right. So I called up the AR dude at the Hollywood store. I was like, hey, bro, and this guy was pretty cool, because he's the guy that introduced me to Ace Frehley. That's a different story. And ouch, my foot. I keep dropping names, but only because where I lived. So, and I was like, hey, bro, I'm going to put it together, but, he's like, I'll tell you what, man, you put that deal together and just make it happen. I'm going to put everything, because they ended up changing prices for him. He's like, no, when he gets back upstairs here, I'm gonna zero everything out back to where it was originally, and you get the full deal. And to smash this guy in the face, he has to come to the store and pick it up from you directly. Nice. So think about that. Some smug ass, washed up fucking rock star tried to pull a fast one on me, but I was spinning plates back then. I mean, I was on point because I back then I knew the value of a commission check. Yeah, so yeah, he didn't get the rock star treatment. He came into that Sherman Oaks store with his tail between his legs, paid for his deal at the Hollywood store, and it ended up showing up on my commission check the next month. And he wasn't happy, because he got called out on his shit.
They've got a thriving business over there right now. The last time I was in, and so they've got whisper rooms. They're in the showroom and just every imaginable guitar and banjo,
of course,
and drum set, and
of course,
and so every time I go in, there's very obvious new inventory and things are going through there, and
right.
I have to wonder, how the pandemic, impacted all that, because, and so in 2020, you couldn't fucking find anything. Nothing was available. You'd watch a few videos. You'd say, okay, this is the microphone or the audio interface, or this is whatever that I want. You'd go to get it, and it's a fucking out of stock. It's back ordered. You can't get it.
Unless you go like to Sweetwater or something like that.
Right. And I think a lot of people are getting rid of stuff now. Yeah. For the by and large, and so I have an account with Sweetwater, and that's where I get everything.
Yeah.
Occasionally I will get something at B&H Photo, but almost always Sweetwater. I've got a rep, and, I put in an order, and he knows, man. And I'm getting a text, a phone call. It's the full treatment, and it's really nice. It's nice to know that someone out there with a name and a face and a voice is hyper aware that, hey, somebody who, for all intents and purposes, is not Ronnie James Dio and never will be, has an order in, and we need to. And so it's kind of that whole rock star when you're not a rock star treatment that you were talking about.
Yeah, exactly.
I got to get ready to go, man.
I think
is your burger
we're on
there?
the same page here. I haven't. Oh, go ahead.
Is your burger there?
No, it'd probably take about half hour for it to get here.
Mine, arguably, my wife went out with some friends earlier today, and just got. I heard her come home, and there was talk of a burger, and
maybe she brought you back some leftovers, or
no. She was going to go somewhere else, pick me up a burger.
Oh, that's
and
right
I was
on.
actually when I joined you tonight, I had every intention of, just a little taste of scotch. I've got some really nice scotch I got last year. And so I was going to do that, but I didn't really have anything on my stomach. I was waiting for the burger, and I thought, well, next time.
Yeah, maybe we could do the. Yeah, I already had a pre-planned question about the scotch, but I'm not a big scotch guy. I was going to talk about ice, but we could maybe do that during our next little chit chat here. Yeah, this was very fun.
It was.
Robert, thank you for hanging out and let me know how this big black phallus here works.
I think it sounds great. I think it's absolutely perfect for what we're doing.
Yeah, totally, bro. I don't know where Wayside Way went, or Phil Subwana. They're probably, but we got 6 people.
We do, and so we've got a few that aren't saying anything, and that's okay. It's okay to be shy.
Yeah, it's fun.
We appreciate you watching, and yeah. So yeah, I gotta go, man. I hate to be the killjoy, but
no.
I'm hoping there's a burger in my very near future.
I think you're gonna. You know what? I feel good about it, man.
Awesome. I'll tell you what. I will let you know. And so when we come on next time, I will let you know. Remind me. I will let you know whether or not there was a burger and whether it was good or not.
Yep.
Wayside is there. Yeah, he's got the little scotch glass there. He said we never left. I'll tell you about the burger and whether it was good or not, or whether it had arrived. And as long as it's not like 1 o'clock in the afternoon, I'll bring a bottle of scotch with me. And
yeah, that'd be weird.
We'll virtually pass it around. Bring the bottle of scotch.
I'm more concerned about the ice. Like these, I want to save it for the next. We can talk about it right now, anyways. But ice cubes that are balls that are like spheres.
Mm-hmm.
Isn't that like a big thing for like whiskey and scotch and stuff like that? Like,
It might
The
be.
right way to the right way to do it, or like a frozen stone or something like that.
I do like my I like some drinks on the rocks and some not.
Right.
My scotch, I like it with and I got to tell you, this is how petty I am. We'll just call it petty. It's some people call it particular. I'm just petty. I like a certain number of ice cubes in my glass with the scotch, and so I've got some really nice glasses.
Oh, okay.
But
Okay.
the number of ice cubes is determined by a couple of things: the size and diameter, the height and diameter of the glass, the amount of the pour, and the diameter of the ice cube. I really am that serious about it. It has to be kind of a precise thing for me. So here are all the things that I wanted to type while driving. Real to real, group Dustin Diamond pornography, or other things that I forgot already. That's fucking hilarious.
Yeah, Dustin Diamond. Yeah, he passed away, didn't he?
I have no idea who that is, but I'm just
I think
glad
that was Screech from Saved by the Bell.
Oh fuck, that's horrible.
Yeah.
I didn't know he was gone.
Hollywood gets to people sometimes.
I had a Marantz reel to reel back in the day. And
okay.
Yeah, there are times I really, really miss it. It was just a really good piece of equipment. So I gotta go, man. I really appreciate everybody stopping by, and you're obviously can stay on as long as you want, but I'm out of here, sir.
All right, brother. Hey, we had a good talk. We kind of got two things going on here because I think the burgers might be arriving, and
Operation Burger.
Yep, I'm going to stay online here and let people wrap things up because we got 6 to go. But hey, Robert, that was fun, buddy.
Thanks for having me, man. I really appreciate it. Wade,
Wade's taking off.
Philip, everybody, man. Awesome talking to you guys tonight.
Yeah, awesome. So until next time, folks.
All righty.
See you.
Did they bring the food already?
I don't know. All right. If nobody's here, it's still showing 6 here, but yeah, that was fun, guys. So whoever's sticking around, we're gonna be ending this transmission in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. See you.